One, two, three, four.
Screen time, screen time, screen time, screen time.
It's my screen time too.
Screen time.
Hello, and welcome to It's My Screen Time Too, the podcast where two moms try to momentarily forget the sorry state of the world by voluntarily subjecting themselves to questionable children's television. Probably an irresponsible choice. Also, an ineffective one. And yes, I did say sorry. Please do not write in about it. That's just how I say it. I've always said it that way.
Sorry?
Yeah.
Sorry?
Yeah, instead of
Oh.
sorry.
Sorry? Sorry is like a dress.
How do you say it?
Sorry?
Now you don't know. It's like asking.
I don't know.
We have to catch you unawares. All right. Well, I'm Katie.
And I'm Deborah.
And I have one son. His name is Jay. He's 2 years old.
And I have a 7-year-old, almost 8, and twin 4.5-year-olds. Well, I have a good twin story from today. It's been a really long time since my 4-year-olds had something happen or did something that's just because they're twins. And so after lunch today, I left the room to make a phone call because I had to look up a number. And they're really loud, so I can't be on the phone in the same room as them. And I came back and they had ripped all the pages out of a brand new coloring book, spread them all over the table, and poured their leftover juice and milk over all of the pages.
Oh.
And so I put them in timeout in the next room and cleaned it up. And that was just the punishment, was that they ruined the pages themselves. That was the punishment. And they spent the whole time in timeout laughing and making each other laugh. So it was just extra infuriating because they had been so naughty.
Uh-huh.
They made this huge mess, and then they just laughed through the whole consequence of it. It was like you see those photos on the internet of messes that people's kids make, and you're like, well, how long were they left unattended? But these two were unattended for 90 seconds. It's incredible the havoc that two conspiring preschoolers can make together.
Wow, that is amazing.
So that's not an adorable story.
But it is life.
How about Jay? How's he doing?
All right, I'll softball this one to make up for your less than adorable story. So we were driving in the car, and it was raining, and Jay's like, I'm going to tell the rain to stop. And I said, okay, you can do that. I don't think it's going to work, but you can tell it to stop. And he said, rain, stop. And the rain stopped. So now he thinks that that's a thing that he can do. So every time, it's been a rainy couple days, so whenever it starts raining, he just very authoritatively says, rain, stop, and then is super surprised when it doesn't.
Oh, that's cute. He's so cute.
Have there been any changes to your screen time policies? Still doing the no screen time on weekdays?
Yeah, so now we have Screen Time Fridays, and everybody, including me, is really excited when it's Friday. Super excited.
Can we talk for a minute about mommy screen time as opposed
Sure.
to kiddo screen time? Because until very recently, Jay's bedtime was 7 p.m., which I know to a lot of parents seems crazy early, but whatever. It worked for him for the longest time, and only recently we pushed it back to 8. And whereas before, if we were really on top of our game, we could even watch a movie after Jay went to bed or something.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm lucky if I get 1 hour of prestige television in before I just have to pass out. It's really sad.
I think that's just what happens. Yeah, because Jeremy, my husband, and I, we watch a show together like maybe 3 times a week. Maybe. And we used to be pretty big television watchers back in the day. Like I knew all of like the fall shows coming out. I was excited for them to start, and now it's October and I have not even cracked my Entertainment Weekly fall TV preview double issue.
Yeah, I know. We are starting no new fall shows, and I am completely ignorant of them. I haven't had a second to look, and thanks to streaming and the ability to fast forward through commercials, they're not in my face, so I just don't know.
Yeah, and there's so much content. I realize we'll never catch up, but there will be a time when our kids are grown up and hopefully live somewhere else. Yeah, and we'll just catch up on the best of TV then.
Yeah, and by then, like, the wheat will have been separated from the chaff. We won't have to
Mm-hmm.
worry about sitting through an entire season of something that people watched for a season and then found out was bad. How to Get Away with Murder?
Yeah, that's a good. I did watch the first season of that. I no longer watch it.
Yeah. All right, well, I guess I should move on to the topic after that little non sequitur / long non sequitur. Today, we are talking about. No, not going to do it.
Ninjago! I hesitated because is it Ninjago or Ninjago? When they say it in the show, they say it kind of like Ninjago, like emphasis on all syllables. But I've heard people in conversations say Ninjago, emphasis on the second syllable.
I thought when they talked about it as a place, they referred to it as Ninjago. But you're right. When they were starting their fight sequences, they would say Ninja Go. So I guess it's either
Yeah.
way. In my head, I pronounce it Ninjago.
Okay, and the G is capitalized, which makes me think it's a compound word.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that. Good catch. So, yes, today's topic is Ninjago, or if you'd prefer, Ninja Go, Masters of Spinjitzu, which is a Lego cartoon. It's a TV series that was released with corresponding Lego sets. And I think the first season aired in 2010, 2011. It's not really clear to me if it's available or if it airs on an actual TV network. It's available on pretty much all the streaming services.
It's on Comedy Central on our cable.
Oh, okay. I guess
But
I
you
didn't.
can only get like season 7.
Well, we picked up 5 seasons. I watched it on Netflix. Deborah watched it on Hulu, so you can get it on either of those platforms. But it is the story of 4 young ninjas, Cole, Zane, Jay, and Kai, and later Lloyd, there's a 5th ninja, as they master their spinjitzu skills with the help of their sensei and Kai's sister, Naya, to protect their country of Ninjago. They all have magic gold weapons, and those weapons have a name that I didn't catch. And spinjitzu seems to be a skill where they can spin really fast like a tornado. That's all I got for a summary. Deborah, did your kids introduce this to you or say they wanted to watch it, or was it just kind of in the air?
Well, the new movie came out, the Ninjago movie, and we had never watched any Ninjago. My 7-year-old saw it with his best friend, so I haven't seen the movie. But up until like a month ago, I just thought Ninjago was like a weird, really scary type of Lego set. Because have you shopped for Legos?
I mean, we're still in Duplo
Jay's too
territory,
little.
so.
Yeah. There's like Star Wars Legos. You will be excited when the day is time. Like when Jay's ready for those. It will be an exciting day for you and Kevin. So there's Star Wars Legos, superhero Legos, like city Legos, which is like fire trucks and stuff, Ninjago Legos, and then there's like girl Legos, the friends.
Yes. Which we did
So-
talk about when we talked about our DC Superhero Girls episode, but go on.
Yeah, so I just avoided the Ninjago because it looked violent and scary, and my kids don't really like scary. But I was pleasantly surprised. The show's kind of funny.
Well, should we jump right into the episodes we watched? Well, the show is really serialized, and I know when we watched Lost in Oz, we took the momentous step of watching 3 episodes in a row because of serialization, but we did not do that here. We have no rhyme or reason behind it. We just decided to watch random episodes. So we watched season 1, episode 1, which was actually not the pilot, but it was called The Rise of the Snakes. We watched season 2, episode 4, Ninja Ball Run, and season 5, episode 5, Peekaboo.
So in Rise of the Snakes, we meet the four, I like to refer to them as Ninja Bros,
I like it.
because they're just sitting around playing video games, and their sensei comes in and he tries to get them to train, and they just totally blow him off because they say they don't need it. They're supposedly getting ready to fight somebody named Lord Garmadon, who does arrive, but it's really Lloyd Garmadon, the Lord's son, and he's like kind of a hapless candy stealing villain. And so then the four ninjas decide to try to train, and they're really hapless. They're like, it's a cartoon, but if it were like an adult show, it would show them smoking pot and playing video games. Like a Seth Rogen type character. Lloyd, he accidentally unlocks this place that gives rise to these serpent villains. And then Naya, like the little sister of one of the ninjas, realizes that Cole, one of the ninjas, has the anti-venom that can defeat Lloyd's spell that he had cast over the village serpents. That's all I got.
Yeah, they did just kind of drop us right into the world. And you could tell they were trying to be fun and hip with their teen ninjas and their video games. But for me, it fell short of that. And maybe it's just because the humor didn't land so much for me. But I don't have a ton to say about the pilot because, to be honest, it just fell immediately out of my brain, and I also lost my notes.
Yeah, no problem. Have you seen the Lego movie, the first one?
Yes, I have actually seen the Lego movie and the Batman Lego movie. So 2 out of 3 Lego movies.
Yeah, I feel like this was an attempt at that tongue-in-cheek humor, and sort of there's a lot of asides in the Lego movie, and there are some asides in here, but it's like the generic, not really as funny version of it.
Yeah, I very much feel like the Lego movie was funny, despite the fact that I was not interested in seeing it at all. I did think it was funny. The Batman Lego movie was funny, but less so. And then it's just like diminishing returns.
Hmm.
Maybe I'm just Legoed out. I don't know. Do you have anything else you want to say about the pilot?
I do think that the fight scenes or the action scenes are funny because I just enjoy Lego animation because they stick to like the limitations of what the blocky body does or can do. So I do enjoy that part of any Lego animation.
See, I feel the opposite. I felt like the fight sequences went on forever, and because the bodies couldn't really do a lot of stuff, that amount of screen time was not justified. Like, there are multiple times in many of these episodes where I paused to see where we were in the episode because I felt like it was so long.
Yeah. Well, this is a Ninja Bro show made for other Ninja Bros. I checked IMDb pretty quickly, and it's all male writers, all male directors. There's a few female actors doing some of the voices, but it's a bro show
Yeah,
for sure.
you're right. Not for us, regardless of the age group they're targeting. But yeah, that's a good point. Okay, so the next episode was season 2, episode 4, Ninja Ball Run, and my summary is pretty quick. So, when their dojo is bought out by an evil developer, the Ninja Bros, which now include Lloyd as the Green Ninja, so somewhere along the line, the villain from the first episode becomes one of the ninjas.
Mm-hmm.
So they enter this really dangerous race called Ninja Ball Run to win the money to buy back the dojo. And I think it's a reference to the 1981 movie Cannonball Run, obviously, based on the name. And I recognize the name, but I really think that they missed the boat on the age group if they wanted like parents to be like, oh, haha, this is just like Cannonball Run, because we're really too young to have seen it. Have you seen it?
No, you know what? There is an app game called something like Ninja Run
Oh,
that
okay.
I thought the Ninja Ball Run was a reference to that app
Okay. Okay.
game.
That would make more sense. So that's all I got for a summary. There are all sorts of funny other competitors in the race. Like there's a bus full of of barbershop singers.
Yeah, I liked those guys.
And there's a school bus with like sort of evil Harry Potter-esque characters and a pirate ship full of skeletons, or am I like mushing two together? Was there a pirate ship and skeletons, or I don't know. Doesn't really matter.
No, I
Um,
think you're right.
so that was cute. And then one of the ninjas' parents were like racing in this old rundown jalopy. It was Jay's parents. And they actually ended up saving the race for the ninjas and helping them win. But along the way, the ninjas just left them there. They helped them win the entire race, and they just left them in the snow with like a non-functional jalopy.
The parents were okay. The parents gave them their blessing though. Did you catch the accent?
I wondered about what you would have to say about it. Was it really like fingernails on a chalkboard for you?
It was not the worst Minnesota accent I've ever heard.
High
It
praise.
wasn't so bad. It wasn't too bad.
Do you have any other thoughts on this episode?
Just the is Nia Naya? Was she played by a different actor in this episode than the first one?
I'm so
I
bad
thought
with
her
voice actors.
I thought her voice was different, and
No, I
I
did
thought
not
her
notice.
voice got I thought her voice changed. Then one of my notes says, "Is Ninjago a country or a state of mind? Where is this? What is this place?"
I think they imply pretty strongly that it's a country
Mm-hmm.
because they show a map.
Okay.
I mean, it just is a mashup of all sorts of Asian stereotypes.
Right, right, right.
But yeah, I think it's supposed to be an actual country with like fantastical elements, obviously. There are dragons.
Okay. So the next episode we watched was from season 5, episode 5, called Peekaboo, Peak. We jumped way ahead, and our ninjas are pretty able, although Cole has turned into a ghost, which I would like some backstory on that. And they all had these new suits that they needed in order to use air jitsu to go to a sanctuary via a mountain range called the Wailing Alps in order to obtain the Sword of Sanctuary. There was a villain called Moro there. He activated the wailing, which caused an avalanche, and then the ninjas got into all kinds of trouble. Cole, the ghost ninja, transformed into a snow monster and saved his ninja bros. And meanwhile, side note, Sensei Wu and Naya were like back at some command center. They never got in on the action. And then the ninjas used air jitsu, or as Lloyd called it, Cyclone Do, and they used it to cross over to the Cloud Kingdom. And it was kind of a cliffhanger. We don't know what happened after that.
You weren't kidding about the big changes in the ninjas because, in addition to one of them being a ghost, one of them seems to be a robot now.
That was weird, yeah.
So clearly, we missed a lot. The one thing that I wrote down from this episode is the repeated catchphrase or like message phrase from the episode is as iron sharpens iron, brother sharpens brother. And that is terrible.
Yeah, it's not well written.
No. It did sort of remind me of later episodes of Paw Patrol where like the gadgets get increasingly more complicated. Just like Paw Patrol now has like submarines and all this weirdo gadgetry, the ninjas now have mechs, which are like those big suits that they wear in the Avatar movie.
Yes, and it's like great merchandising
Good point.
because it's a show made by a toy, and the show just creates more opportunities to sell the toys. So that's why the Ninjago section at Target is so big.
Yeah, well, in that sense, it reminded me a lot of the shows from our childhood that seemed explicitly designed to sell merchandise, like Care Bears.
Oh, Care Bears.
Mm-hmm.
Jinx.
And I don't know, because obviously, spoiler alert, I did not care for this show, but I'm trying to parse whether the sort of crass commercialization of it affects how much I dislike it. Or if it's just them being honest. Like, yes, it's a toy line based on a show, based on a toy line, based on a show.
Yeah, I think if it were really clever, and there's no way to sustain the cleverness of the Lego movie through a 7 series show written by dude bros who are smoking pot and playing video games when they're not sitting around this writer's table. Like, it's just unsustainable. So
I'm curious about the movie, not curious enough to ever see it, but I wonder if they have any of the same staff or if they hired like a movie team to write the movie.
that's a good question. I'll probably watch the movie at some point, so maybe it's good.
I think Jay is young enough that this will have passed by the time he is old enough to watch a movie like this. So, yes, I escape.
What do you feel about Legos? I'm curious since Jay, they're not really a part of your life right now.
I mean, he is getting a little bit into Duplos. I have had the joy of stepping on Legos on multiple occasions, which I feel like is a parental rite of passage. But we're mostly in the Mickey Mouse Duplo phase. I don't mind them. I like the concept because I'm a rule follower and I enjoy following instructions. But I am not super on board with the Legos as television series / movie characters. Like I said, I liked the Lego movie fine. I thought it was funny. I liked the Batman Lego movie slightly less, and I think I'm done. I don't think I need any more Lego movies or TV in my life. Like, I think that's perfectly enough for me.
Yeah.
How about you?
Well, I love Legos. We've talked before about the girl Legos. And how that's kind of problematic. But I loved the Lego movie, but I feel like it's jumped the shark with definitely the 5th season of Ninjago. For sure.
There's also no reason why there can't be an equal gender split for the ninjas. Like, there's no reason why it can't be 2 boys and 2 girls.
Seriously. I know. It's just not a good show the time period in which we live in because it's like super sexist, really racist.
Yeah, we haven't even gotten there yet. Yeah, there's a whole lot of cultural appropriation. And I, like I said, or like you said, you're into more in depth Lego territory, but is there race in the Lego verse? Like, or are all people yellow?
No, there's some like brown people.
Okay.
Like there's like Lego yellow, and then I know we have some guys who are like the heads are like black or brown, like different shades of brown.
So this is really like four white guys being ninjas.
Seriously, Ninjago writers, you can't do better than this? I guess they can't. Like, we really went after Nutri Ventures because it was just like overt and horrific and old-fashioned racism. This is like, to me, it's like a more palatable racism, like a less,
Well, it's racism and also cultural appropriation. So it's like, let us
yeah,
take the cool parts for our own.
yeah, yeah. It's Edward Said's Orientalism for sure. Like,
You know, pretty much
making
how white people do
making
with
the
everything.
yeah, and making the other exotic. Yeah,
Yeah,
thumbs down on Ninjago.
that was problematic. So we talked briefly about the girl Legos. What did you think about the sister character? Did it? Did it? Did she strike you as? Because she's the only female in the entire cast. Like,
Yeah,
was she adequate representation?
they made her a Tracy Flick kind of character. She does say in like the season 5 episode we watched that she's training to become like a water ninja or something. But like you said earlier, they could have had a equal opportunity cast.
Yeah,
Yeah, in terms of gender, for sure.
like Kung Fu Panda did.
Yeah, and made the one female character more than a caricature.
You know what? It reminded me of because she did all the tech stuff. That was supposed to be her specialty. That no, like she built the mech suits for them to climb the mountain, and she
Mm-hmm.
souped up their car for the Dragon Ball, no, Ninja Ball race. But she so reminded me of like the analyst in every procedural cop show, who is like always this quirky girl who is socially awkward, but like really knows how to match those DNA
Yeah.
remnants or
Yeah, or like Julia Stiles in the Jason Bourne movies.
yes.
Yeah. Yes, she was totally that character. Yeah.
This whole thing is so clearly targeted to boys in a way that infuriates me. It infuriates
Mm-hmm.
me that we have to have separate properties for boys and girls. It infuriates me as an adult that we still have separate movies for men and women. Like, we
Mm-hmm.
can't enjoy the same things. We can enjoy the same things.
Do you think it was better when we were kids?
I mean, only because I have nostalgia for those equally crass properties like Care Bears and the Popples television show. And, you know, those are the products that I was convinced to buy through television shows. So I think of them
Right.
as being better. I'm sure they were horrible. And I'm sure that as clunky and bro centric as the dialogue is in this, it is better than those.
I just because of the ninja aspect, I immediately thought of the Karate Kid. Are you too
Mm-hmm.
young to have watched that movie?
No, of course.
Okay.
Particularly the song, and I don't even know who sang that song from Karate Kid 3. I am the man who will fight for your honor. No.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So I think it was a little bit better when we were kids. We got the Karate Kid. But I haven't seen that since I was a kid, and going back, I'll probably be mad about how Mr. Miyagi is portrayed.
Did you see the remake?
I did not.
I watched it. I don't remember it being horrible, but that being said, I don't really remember much about it at all.
Okay.
I couldn't really think of a movie geared towards adults that this compared to, but definitely Karate Kid was the obvious comparison, even though I feel like that was still a movie made for kids.
Yeah, I guess I thought about Knocked Up.
Yeah, you were
I
really on that
mentioned
Seth
Seth
Rogen
Rogen
train. Yeah.
before, but it's like a bunch of dudes trying to be competent people while some competent lady is like nagging them.
So, did you cast the gritty HBO reboot, or were you just thinking of Knocked Up?
I did, and you know what? It is not hard to come up with two females and two males.
No, it's not. It's not.
Yeah.
Go
So
ahead.
I got, okay, I'm still going with the Dubrow angle. So I have Jemima Kirk from Girls, Phoebe Robinson from the Two Dope Queens podcast, and she's
Oh,
also a comedian. She was in
she's
I Love
hilarious.
Dick, yeah, on Amazon. So Jake Lacey, he plays Fran, Hannah Horvath's boyfriend on a later season of Girls.
I didn't watch
Oh my,
Girls.
see, we watch like maybe 3 hours of television,
Hang on, let
adult
me look him
television a
up.
week. And then Jay Ellis plays Lawrence on Insecure. He's his
Oh, yes.
boyfriend.
I have seen at least the pilot of that. I like it. Did you cast the sensei?
No, no.
All right. Well, I
Maybe
love
Judy Dench.
if she can do it for James Bond, she can do it for these assholes. So I was thinking of a comedy version, and I was less focused on fixing the gender disparity and more focused on fixing the racial disparity. So I left Chris Pratt in there as the funny white guy, and the Lego movie, so it was obviously on my mind.
Mm-hmm.
But then I was kind of torn between Titus Burgess or Kevin Hart to be like the fish out of water,
Okay.
which I feel like is the one that Lloyd is kind of the hapless one.
Yeah.
The Rock and John Cena. Is that how you pronounce his last name?
I don't know who that is.
He's like an MMA fighter turned actor.
Oh.
Who's like actually been pretty well received in a lot of stuff that he's done, even though I can't really name you anything. And then I cast Ali Wong as Naya. Have you seen her comedy special?
I have not.
Are you a stand-up comedy hater or a stand-up comedy lover?
I love stand-up comedy.
Okay, so next time you have a half an hour free, you need to watch her comedy special on Netflix. It is called Baby Cobra, and she is extremely pregnant while she's doing the special, and it's hilarious. She is really funny. She could show those boys who's boss. And then I cast the sensei. I wanted to go back in time and cast a slightly younger version of Bob Newhart as Sensei Wu, because I feel like he would also just be like, you guys. So would you ever watch this alone voluntarily?
No. You?
I'm with you. Never. No. 10 seconds on whether this is good for our kids.
I did watch the first episode with my kids, and after we turned it off, my 7-year-old said, "Let's play Ninjago," and the other two went, "Okay." And Tony and Nate picked their characters right away, and then Libby was like, "What does Naya do? Like, what's her power?" And there's no answer. So no, I don't think it's good for kids.
Yes. Yeah, that's a really good assessment. I agree. Jay is so at the early point with really watching shows with plots and like following them all the way through that it is just really not worth it to me to waste his screen time on a show that doesn't have a beneficial lesson attached to it.
Yeah.
Which this does not at all. I mean, as Blades sharpens blade, brother sharpens brother is not a beneficial lesson to me.
Right.
So no, I agree. Not good. Ratings?
2.5.
Oh, man. I'd go 2 at the highest. Yeah. Well, this is a pretty cut and dried case, guys. Do not watch Ninjago, although it should be said that we are 2 ladies, so maybe the dads out there would really enjoy watching it because it is geared towards guys. All right, Deborah, talk us out.
Thank you for listening to this episode of It's My Screen Time Too. Please rate and review us on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. And you can find us on Facebook to continue the conversation at facebook.com/myscreentime2. That's also where you'll find out what we're covering in our next episode if you want to watch along with us. You can tweet us with show or movie suggestions or general comments at myscreentime2. Email us at myscreentime2@gmail.com. And our theme music was composed and performed by me, Deborah, and my adorable children. And our podcast is produced by Katie Kriller. Tune in next time for more real talk about the movies and TV beloved by kids and tolerated by parents.
Bye.